Talks classic rock. Q104.3.
Brian May is with us in the studio. Dr. May, welcome.
Thank you, Jim. Very happy to be here.
It's our pleasure.
We're thrilled.
It's our pleasure to have you here. Now, you have performed before some of the largest audiences in the history of the world. I mean, at the Queen's Golden Jubilee, there you were, standing all alone with your guitar, playing "God Save the Queen" to open the ceremonies to a televised audience that has been estimated in the hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
So you know what it's like to perform under pressure.
You're right.
However, I have a question for you. Were you nervous when you had to defend your dissertation?
I have a question for you. Are you kidding?
No, when you had to defend your dissertation.
I wasn't listening to the last part of the question. I was nervous on the roof, yeah. I mean,
well, you seemed very cool and collected. I watched it, but when you had to defend your dissertation,
that was just horrific. That wasn't nerves, that was just horror. You know, when you walk into the room with this bloke, well, actually two guys, and they have your thesis on the table, and in it are stuffed about 3,000 little yellow pieces of paper, all of which are queries and things that they're going to dispute. Your heart sinks, and you know you're in there for hours and hours, and they're going to send you away to do stuff again, and that's the last thing you want at that moment. You've spent years doing this thesis, and someone's going to tell you it's not quite right. Just spend another few months, you know.
And your topic was?
My topic was radial velocities in the local dust cloud around the sun.
What does that mean?
The local dust cloud around the sun.
It means, there's a lot of, that the sun has a family, which is planets, bits of rock, and it also has all different sizes of pieces of stuff going around along with the planets, down to tiny micron level. So it's dust. We're surrounded by dust. And my experiment was to try and find out where the dust is going and where it came from and stuff like that.
Well,
a far cry from rock, right?
Well, it's different kinds of rocks, man.
Yes.
Well, I addressed you as Dr. May, so it worked.
It worked. I got my doctorate in the end, so I am a doctor of astrophysics. Thank God. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that again.
Well, I was talking with Shelley a little earlier this morning. If we were to properly write down your name, it would be Brian May, CBE, PhD. F-R-A-S.
True.
And quite frankly, most rock stars don't have that collection of letters behind their names.
They don't?
They don't.
Is that right?
We think you are the smartest man in rock, hands down.
I don't know about that.
No, you have
Smart
to be.
is something different. I'm not very smart.
Oh, come on.
Are you kidding?
I can just do stuff. I'm just very, very persistent man.
You're an astrophysicist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I always wanted to be. I always had too many dreams, and that was one of the dreams, to be an astrophysicist. And I do love it, I got to say, and I still keep up with it.
And the FRAS, does that stand for Fellow of the Royal Academy of Science? Is that what that stands
Fellow
for?
of the Royal Astronomical Society.
The Royal Astronomical Society.
Yeah, it's very close.
Because I was trying to figure it out. Okay.
Yeah, that's nice. That's not something I really earned. The PhD I really earned. I have a number of honorary degrees as well, which is nice. Universities want to recognize your work. But this one, the one that I really treasure is the one that I really worked for, because 4 years in ancient times and a year out of my life just a couple of years ago.
So which are you more proud of, though? Would it be that, or would it be your music?
It's hard to say. I mean, really, I'm a musician. I think, if I ask myself, what am I think a musician is the closest thing I would come to, first of all. But these days I spend more of my time trying to be an advocate for animals than anything else.
I saw your button.
It's become a big part of my life, and a growing part of my life, because it's becoming more and more necessary in the country that I live that people should speak up for animals, because it's tough times.
And one of my Facebook friends yesterday commented when I put up the announcement that you were going to be here this morning about how you are he referred to you as a champion.
That's very
of
nice.
The animals.
Well, I try to be, because the animals, particularly wild animals in Britain, which is our thing, have no voice. And, there isn't a department in the government which is looking after wild animals. There's a Department of the Environment, but our present Minister of the Environment is heavily married to the farming community, and the farming community is by nature slightly in conflict with wildlife. That's what farming is, you know. So really there is no representation for wildlife whatsoever. And at the moment they're killing them hands down. They're literally slaughtering badgers as we speak. And badgers, I don't know if you have them here. You have different kinds of badgers here, but a badger in Britain is an ancient mammal that was in the British Isles long before humans, and they're very family-oriented, very highly intelligent mammal, carnivore. And they're being blamed for the spread of a disease very unjustly, and it's a kind of vendetta thing. That's the way I see it anyway. You know, but no, the thing is that nobody speaks up for them, and they are worth nothing. You know, wildlife, foxes, badgers, hedgehogs, or whatever, are worth nothing to the government.
Well, you have a voice, and people hear it.
I do.
And your voice in Great Britain is a very loud one.
It's a persistent one.
No, I mean a loud one in the sense that, you know, Queen has achieved phenomenal success and fame here in the United States. However, the success that Queen achieved in the United Kingdom is on another level altogether.
Always number one on the list.
So being able to use the soapbox that level of achievement allows you to have.
That's right.
It gives you an advantage to speak up for them.
It did. It gave me a voice, and I feel a great obligation to use that voice responsibly.
We just had a very unique experience. Brian had never heard that performance before. I mean, excepting, of course, standing on the stage doing it.
Yeah. That's a relief. That sounds good. Sounds big.
It was.
I don't listen to stuff. You know, once it's done, it's done. I tend to move on. You know?
Well, you were smiling when you were listening.
I'm happy. Yeah, it sounds very good. And Adam's very cool, you know,
and you worked with Fun that night as well.
We did, which was also great fun. You get into this kind of thing working with those guys.
It's Brian May with us here at Q104.3. By the way, when he took his wrapper off of his straw for the orange juice, he turned the wrapper into a caterpillar, saying that's what he used to do with his straw wrappers when he was a kid, and he made a little caterpillar.
I was just relieved that I could still do that, you know.
Do you know how much that would be worth on eBay?
Oh, stop it.
We could auction it if you like. Bry's caterpillar. Yeah, it's a very nice caterpillar. He's doing very well. Yeah, there he goes.
Very cute.
There he goes, crawling over the mic, just right here.
Diableries, Stereoscopic Adventures in Hell. Stereoscopy is a particular interest of yours.
It's a passion,
This is the second collection.
That's right.
That you've participated in. This with the London Stereoscopic Company.
Which is me, really.
Okay, well, that's a good thing.
I should just tell you that, yeah.
And,
the London Stereoscopic Company was a company in the 1850s, and I kind of resurrected it. But carry on, sorry, I'm interrupting.
The mid-19th century, during the mid-19th century, stereoscopic photography was all the rage.
It was huge. It was the TV and movies of the time, because they didn't have either, you know. So that was the window on the world for the Victorians. Yeah, stereoscopic pictures were just massive, and there were millions, literally millions of them around the place.
And for our friends who don't know what they are...
And I think most people don't.
No, well, everybody's seen Avatar, so everybody knows what 3D is now.
Right.
You don't have to explain that. But basically, the Victorians invented it along with photography, almost exactly the same time. But the Victorian version of it is a more kind of intimate experience. You have a little stereo card. It's a few inches across. And on that card are two images which look the same, but they're slightly different. You put them in the viewer, the stereoscope, and suddenly the whole thing springs into 3D, and it's like you could walk through a window into another world, which is what this is.
So it's similar to the Viewmaster.
Absolutely, the same principle as the Viewmaster.
That kids had fun with, you know.
That's right, and still do, I think, yeah. This is a kind of larger version of the Viewmaster. Viewmaster is a kind of potted version. In this, my viewer, which I had to invent because there aren't any out there, I had to kind of design it. But it's really a reproduction of a Victorian Brewster viewer, and it's very well designed so that the geometry that's presented to your eyes is perfectly right. So you're experiencing pretty much the same images as you would be if you were there, and your brain makes the same connection. So in other words, you really feel like you could touch these objects that you're looking at in the stereoscope.
But the image changes depending upon the light source.
Well, ours does, yeah. These particular ones do, yeah. The Diableries
the French tissues.
Exactly, yeah. They were made so that if you held them up to the light, all the colours would come through and the eyes would glow at you in a very eerie kind of way.
So the eyes glow. You can see these eyes glowing. I've never seen anything like it. You have to see it to appreciate it, because
It's unusual.
describing it isn't giving it justice.
Well,
That's right.
this particular collection, if I understand it correctly, is a bit, shall we say, the times were oppressive in France.
That's right.
The political conditions at the time were very oppressive.
That's right.
And
censorship covered everything.
And this was a way for some people to communicate their desire to somehow rebel against the established authorities by doing some things which might be considered a little odd.
That's right.
The pictures seem, some of them, to be very political, but using the devil and skeletal figures. And
That's right. Yeah, they are. I mean, they're fun. It is fun, and it's very beautiful to look at. But underneath is this undercurrent of sedition. Really, they're portraying Napoleon III as the devil, as Satan, which was pretty risky. I mean, you could certainly get put in prison for that, and some of them did. So it's like being a cartoonist, I suppose, in a very repressive regime. Yeah. So it's dangerous stuff. And
trying to poke fun at the authorities that can come and pick you up and take you away.
That's right.
And you've managed to uncover almost the entire collection of these cards, right?
Yeah, well, we have all of the main series, which are the best. There's a series of 72 which were pulled together, all created by two great sculptors who are called Ennetier and Habert. And these two guys really created a whole style of a world which is populated by skeletons which represent the souls of the dead. But these guys are very much alive, and in the beginning it's a little scary because it's the religious view of hell, like you get boiled in pots and stuff. But there's already a kind of glint in their eye, and of course you realize they're dead anyway, so it's not going to do them any harm. So they actually end up having a lot of fun in hell, which probably was a little bit of a rebellious idea in itself in France at that time, because it's a very religious time.
Well, you and your co-writers, Dennis Pellerin and Paula Fleming, have provided the text in the book that gives information about the background.
That's right, which has never been heard before. Nobody knows what these things mean until now.
What was going on at the time, the cultural context, as well as the pictures and the viewer that you invented.
Well, I had to invent it, really.
They don't have one of these anymore. Think I'll just invent it.
It's not enough to be a rocket scientist. It's not enough to be one of the biggest rock stars on Earth. Now you invent something.
And
I didn't invent stereoscopy. I just kind of reinvented the wheel in a sense. But nobody's. It's revolutionary because it focuses and because it folds flat into this book, and nobody ever managed that before.
Diableries, Stereoscopic Adventures in Hell, is an illustrated 280-page hardcover book that weighs about a ton. I mean, it's huge. Plus, it has a 3D viewer in a slipcase with a 16-layer lenticular image on the front of the slipcase. This is not, when I say Brian May's new book.
It's more than a book.
It's an experience.
It is. It's a work of art,
it's
too.
It's a lot more than a book.
It's a labor of love, yeah. I'm very proud of it.
And it's very heavy.
And there will be, it's very heavy, man.
It's very heavy.
There will be a book signing Monday at noon at the Barnes & Noble on 5th Avenue. That's Monday at noon, the Barnes & Noble on 5th Avenue here in Manhattan. And then at 7 o'clock Monday evening at the legendary Strand Bookstore on Broadway and 12th Street, there will be a very special presentation.
Yeah, we will be projecting in 3D.
Wow.
So you'll be able to see some of the images from the book live on the screen. It's not quite like the book. The book is the best experience of all, but this is a good way of getting it across, and we'll be lecturing, giving a little talk about what it's all about.
Well, you have experience as a lecturer.
I do. I kind of enjoy lecturing. I like the Q&A part. I love to hear what people ask, and respond to that.
Well,
but don't they all ask about Queen?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they ask what do you turn your guitar up to? That's the favorite question I get. I just turn everything up full. But that's the question I get asked a lot.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't I just push it? Why don't I just push the button on the telephone and we'll let someone ask you a question?
You have somebody?
Well, let's see. Hi, who's this?
Paul Lebowski, Edgewater. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Okay, Paul, say hello to Brian May.
Good morning, Dr. May.
Good morning, Paul.
Honor.
Thank you.
I've been a Queen fan since day one.
Fantastic.
Two questions, actually. the Starfleet project. You have two awesome guitar players. What was it like working with Eddie Van Halen on that project?
Oh, amazing, yeah. He was just a boy then, but the most phenomenal player. And we hooked up just for an afternoon. We did kind of play around at each other's houses, sort of prepare ourselves. But basically, we put ourselves in the studio for a few hours and ran the tape the whole time. And that's what you get on the Starfleet project. Yeah, it was a great time. It was a real, a spontaneous blast moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was released as a mini LP, I think.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think it's available now. We should really re-release this stuff, probably.
And your second question?
The second question, Another One Bites the Dust.
Mm-hmm.
It's been rumored for years that played backwards.
Here we go.
No, I don't think it is.
No.
Okay, I won't say the rest of it.
No.
What's the rumor? I wanted to know the rumor.
You don't want to know the rumor.
I don't.
What
Has he gone?
I think you got.
He's got upset now.
He's still there. I just turned his volume down.
Oh.
I don't want to get into backwards playing stuff.
No, we probably should move on from that. There's a good... Yeah,
Craziness.
And
play it backwards, you get Diableries, actually.
yes,
I think you get devilments, right?
Not only do you have experience as a lecturer and the Q&A, but you held an academic post for a while.
Yeah, I still do in theory. I'm still attached to Imperial College as a visiting researcher. But, I spend a lot of my time doing other stuff, as you've noticed. If it's not music, it's stereoscopy. And
Brian May took a guitar off the wall, and he said the guitar needs love.
Guitars need to be played.
He was tuning it. He said this guitar is out of tune. The guitar needs love.
This is not just a guitar. It's a Tony Iommi guitar that I found. See, which is beautiful. It's right-handed. It can't be authentic, because Tony doesn't play right-handed.
Yeah, but he signed it when he was here.
But it's beautiful. Yes, I picked it up. I had to tune it, and there it is. And if I press this button, it'll come out. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go. That's a guitar. I just like guitars in the morning.
With a tiny little amp. Tiny little amp.
That's awesome.
Tiny little amp that one of our engineers, Jeff, just brought in. A little tiny, dinky little.
It's a very small. Little amps are good because you can drive them hard. Yeah, I like that. Okay, what should we do now?
Okay. Brian May, Monday, noon at Barnes & Noble on 5th Avenue, 7 o'clock Monday evening at the Strand, Broadway, and 12th.
Well, it needs a whammy, but,
Brian May, let's give it. Hey. What a treat it has been, and congratulations on the show opening in Baltimore. We will rock you.
Yeah, the whole tour. It'll get to New York in the end. Sometime.
We hope.
But
yeah.
Great reviews.
When? Do we know?
Well, they have a year's schedule ahead of them, but sometime after that, yeah.
Great reviews, and there's word that you're working on a new Queen album with some old recordings.
Yeah, it'll be a mixture, I think. I don't know quite how much we can find, but there's more than I thought there, I have to say. There's those couple of tracks which we've been telling people about with Michael Jackson, and they're fun. And there's a few other things too that just kind of got forgotten. So yeah, a mixture of old and new, I think. But you can't spend all your life in the past. You have to move on. I like to do new stuff, but now and again I'm sitting in there and I get the tapes out. And there's Freddie singing As Large as Life, and it all seems very new. It's very strange, it still excites me. So, I'm working on one particular track, which nobody's going to expect, and it's just Freddie singing a beautiful song. But what you can do, of course, with the modern technology, we all say we don't like the modern technology, but you can do great stuff with it, And you can just take Freddie's voice off, get rid of everything else, and start anew. You paint a new canvas with Freddie singing the lead vocal. So that's what we're doing right now. Good fun. nice.
And We Will Rock You on the London stage has been there for...
We're 12 years,
Wow.
yeah, and 6.5 million people live, I think. So incredible. And this is the dream, of course, to bring it back to the States, because really, Jim, we grew up here as a band, Queen. We came from England, but we grew up here in the land of rock and roll. And to bring the show here has been a dream. So the All-American We Will Rock You is walking the streets right now.
And what's the story with the Freddie Mercury movie? We were so upset when Sacha Baron Cohen dropped out because he seemed perfect.
Well, it's a long story. Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't be too upset because I don't think it was going to work. He was great because he helped us with his enthusiasm and kind of pushing us along at a certain point. But I don't think it would have been right to see him on the stage because on the screen as Freddie, because all you would have been able to think about would be Sacha. You know what I'm saying? Because it's very much a particular thing he does.
He's larger than life
He
himself.
is now.
And
Yeah, he's great. We're good friends, and we still admire him as a comic and everything else, and as an actor or whatever. But, it would not have worked for this movie. You have to believe that that's Freddie that you're seeing on the screen.
So it'll be an unknown, maybe?
Well, we have somebody very much in mind. He's not quite signed on the dotted line yet, but yeah, he's a young and upcoming and wonderful actor, and a face that you probably don't know, but you will soon.
Okay, once again, the book, Diableries, and the signings, Monday, noon, Barnes & Noble, 5th Avenue, and then 7 p.m. Monday at the Strand, Broadway, and 12th. Dr. May, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim. It's great. I love live radio, especially with a guy like this. Thank you, man.
Awesome.